very important business.
Isn't Mr. Worthing in his library?
Mr. Worthing left in the direction of the rectory some time ago.
Pray, ask the lady to come out here. Uncle Jack is sure to be back soon. And you can bring tea.
Yes, miss.
Miss Fairfax, I suppose one of the many good elderly women who are associated with Uncle Jack in some of his philanthropic work in London. I don't quite like women who are interested in philanthropic work. I think it is so forward of them.
Miss Fairfax.
Pray, let me introduce myself to you. My name is Cecily Cardew.
Cecily Cardew, what a very sweet name. Something tells me that we are going to be great friends. I like you already more than I can say. My first impressions of people are never wrong.
How nice of you to like me so much after we've known each other such a comparatively short time.
I may call you Cecily, may I not?
Of course.
And you will always call me Gwendolyn, won't you?
If you wish.
Then that is all quite settled, is it not?
I hope so.
Perhaps this might be a favorable opportunity for my mentioning who I am. My father is Lord Bracknell. You have never heard of Papa, I suppose.
I don't think so.
Outside the family circle, Papa, I am glad to say, is entirely unknown. That is quite as it should be. The home seems to be the proper sphere for the man. And certainly, once a man begins to neglect his domestic duties, he becomes painfully effeminate, does he not? And I don't like that. It makes men so very attractive. Cecily, Mamma, whose views on education are remarkably strict, has brought me up to be extremely short-sighted. It is part of her system. So, do you mind my looking at you through my glasses?
Of course not, Gwendolyn. I'm very fond of being looked at.
You are here on a short visit, I suppose.
Oh no, I live here.
Really? Your mother, no doubt, or some female relative of advanced years resides here also?
No, I have no mother, nor in fact any relations.
Indeed.
My dear guardian, with assistance in this prison, has the arduous task of looking after me.
Your guardian?
Yes, I'm Mr. Worthing's ward.
Oh, it is strange. He never mentioned to me he had a ward. How secretive of him. He becomes more interesting hourly. I cannot say, however, that the news inspires me with feelings of unmixed delight. Cecily, I have liked you ever since I met you. But now that I know you are Mr. Worthing's ward, I cannot help expressing a wish that you were, well, just a little older than you seem to be, and not quite so very alluring in appearance. In fact, if I may speak candidly,
Pray do. I think that when anyone has anything unpleasant to say, one should always be quite candid.
well, to speak with perfect candor, Cecily, I wish you were fully 42 and more than usually plain for your age. Ernest has a strong, upright nature. He's the very soul of truth and honor. Disloyalty would be as impossible to him as deception. But even men of the noblest possible moral character are extremely susceptible to the physical charms of others. Modern, no less than ancient history, supplies us with many most painful examples of what I refer to. If it were not so, indeed, history would be quite unreadable.
Beg your pardon, Gwendolyn. Did you say Ernest?
Yes.
Well, it is not Mr. Ernest Worthing who is my guardian. It is his brother, his elder brother.
Ernest never said he had a brother.
I'm sorry to say they have not been on good terms for a long time.
Ah, that accounts for it. And now that I think of it, I have never heard any man mention his brother. The subject seems distasteful to most men. Cecily, you have lifted a load from my mind. I was growing almost anxious. It would have been terrible if any cloud had come across a friendship like ours, would it not? Of course, you are quite sure. It is not Mr. Ernest Worthing who is your guardian?
Quite sure. In fact, I'm going to be his.
I beg your pardon.
My dearest Gwendolyn, there's no reason why I should make it a secret of it to you. A little county newspaper is sure to chronicle the fact next week. Mr. Ernest Worthing and I are engaged to be married.
Dear Cecily, there must be some slight error. Mr. Ernest Worthing is engaged to me. The announcement will appear in the Morning Post on Saturday at the latest.
I'm afraid you must be under some misconception, Miss Fairfax. Ernest proposed to me exactly 10 minutes ago.
That is certainly very curious, for he proposed to me yesterday afternoon at 5:30. If you would care to verify the incident, pray do. I never travel without my diary. One should always have something sensational to read on the train. I'm sorry, dear Cecily, if it is any disappointment to you, but I am afraid I have the prior claim.
It would distress me more than I can tell you, Miss Fairfax, if I caused you any mental or physical anguish. But I feel bound to point out that since Ernest proposed to you, he clearly has changed his mind.
If the poor fellow has been entrapped into any foolish promise, I shall consider it my duty to rescue him at once, and with a firm hand.
Whatever entanglement my dear boy may have gotten into, I will never reproach him with it after we are married.
Do you allude to me, Miss Cardew, as an entanglement? You are presumptuous. On an occasion of this kind, it becomes more than a moral duty to speak one's mind. It becomes a pleasure.
Do you suggest, Miss Fairfax, that I entrapped Ernest into an engagement? How dare you? This is no time for wearing the shallow mask of manners. When I see a spade, I call it a spade.
I am glad I have never seen a spade. It is obvious our social spheres are widely different.
Darling teacher, as usual, miss.
Yes, as usual.
Are there many interesting walks in the vicinity, Miss Cardew?
Yes, from one of the top of the hills, one can see 5 counties.
5 counties. I don't think I should like that. I hate crowds.
I suppose that is why you live in town.
Quite a well-kept garden this is, Miss Cardew.
So glad you like it, Miss Fairfax.
I had no idea there were flowers in the country.
Oh, flowers are as common here, Miss Fairfax, as people are in London.
Personally, I cannot understand how anybody manages to exist in the country. If anybody who is anybody does. The country always bores me to death.
Ah, this is what the newspapers call agricultural depression, is it not? I believe the aristocracy are suffering very much from it just at present. It has almost become an epidemic amongst them, I have been told. Shall I offer you some tea, Miss Fairfax?
Thank you. Detestable girl, but I require tea. Sugar? No, thank you. Sugar is not fashionable anymore. Cake or bread and butter? Bread and butter, please. Cake is rarely seen at the best houses nowadays.
And that's Miss Fairfax.
You have filled my tea with lumps of sugar. And though I asked distinctly for bread and butter, you have given me cake. I am known for the gentleness of my disposition and the extraordinarily sweetness of my nature. But I warn you, Miss Cardew, you may go too far.
To save my poor, innocent, trusting boy from the machinations of any other girl, there are no lengths to which I would not go.
From the moment I saw you, I distrusted you. I felt you were false and deceitful. I am never deceived in such matters. My first impressions of people are invariably right.
It seems to me, Miss Fairfax, that I'm trespassing on your valuable time. No doubt you have many other calls of a similar character to make in the neighborhood.
Ernest, My own Ernest.
Gwendolyn, darling.
A moment. May I ask you, are you engaged to this young lady?
To dear little Cecily? Why, of course not. What could have put such an idea into your pretty little head?
Thank you, you may.
I knew there must be some misunderstanding, Miss Fairfax. The gentleman whose arm is at present around your waist is my dear guardian, Mr. John Worthing.
I beg your pardon?
This is Uncle Jack.
Jack. Oh.
Here is Ernest.
My own one.
A moment. May I ask you, are you married? Are you engaged to be married to this young lady?
To what young lady? Good heavens, Gwendolyn!
Yes, to good heavens, Gwendolyn. I mean to Gwendolyn.
What could have put such an idea into your pretty little head?
Thank you. You may.
I'm afraid there is some slight error, Miss Pardue. The gentleman who is presently embracing you is my cousin, Mr. Algernon Moncrief.
Algernon Moncrief? Oh. Are you really called Algernon?
I cannot deny it.
Is your name really John?
I could deny it if I liked. I could deny anything if I liked. But my name most certainly is John. It has been John for years.
A gross deception has been practiced on both of us.
My poor wounded Cecily.
The sweet, wrong Gwendolyn.
You will call me sister, will you not?
Of course. There's just one question I would like to be allowed to ask my guardian.
An admirable idea. Mr. Worthing, there is just one question I would like to be permitted to put to you. Where is your brother Ernest? We are both engaged to your brother Ernest, so it is a matter of some importance to us where your brother is at present.
Gwendolyn, Cecily, it pains me very much to be forced to speak the truth. It is the first time in my life I have ever been reduced to such a painful position. However, I will tell you quite frankly that I have no brother Ernest. I have no brother at all. Indeed, I have never had a brother, and I don't intend on having a brother, not even of any kind.
No brother at all?
None.
Had you never a brother of any kind?
Never. Not even of any kind.
I am afraid it is quite clear, Cecily, that neither of us is engaged to anyone.
It is not a very pleasant situation for a young girl to find herself in, is it?
No, let us go into the house. They will hardly venture to follow us there.
No, men are so cowardly, aren't they?